This podcast contains adults using adult language. You have been warned.
"1:05:02 in the morning. It's the Weasel."
Wait,
We're live.
We're known as the Weasel now?
Are we the Weasel now? That's amazing.
No.
It's better than the cheese elemental.
Oh, okay.
Better than a cheese elemental.
So we're live now.
We are.
We
live.
are.
We
Awesome.
are live.
We've been
That was
live
a
since
joke.
you were whispering that thing in the microphone.
Oh, fantastic. Awesome.
About being too sexy for the chat.
Anyways.
Oh, wait. So they heard me buying shit.
Cool.
And they didn't. I was lying. Now they do know.
Oh,
that you
damn it.
Ha-ha.
Okay, now it knows.
Anyways.
Coming soon on this channel.
Greetings, Earthlings, or whatever plane you may hail from. Welcome to another episode of Team X, or Team Xenagogue, for those who aren't into the whole, brevity thing, where we stand by our freshness guarantee with a full money-back refund, as well as a non-weird back rub from Blind Cleric.
No, fuck
Restrictions may apply.
Oh, it's gonna be very weird.
I am Saint.
Probably gonna involve some form of polar.
I am Saint Brian, your dungeon master this evening. So let's introduce the cast. To my right,
I am Bob the Ninja Goldfish, and I will be playing Korben Oakenthane, Dwarven Monk Bard. And just to change things up a little bit, let's go down to Gid.
I am playing Hugon Vallander, human fighter, battlemaster. Yes, super cool. Let's go to Yvonne.
I am Viking Goat, also known as Yvonne. I will be playing Thunuk Gentletrunk, firbolg nature cleric. Upwards to the clues.
I am Clues playing Drenmai Jemweaver, a tinker gnome sorcerer.
awesome.
Wild sorcerer, no less.
I like lasers.
Lasers.
Like lasers.
And at one point, there surely will be consequences and repercussions for said magic. Because she didn't read the fine print.
Facts.
So,
That's
anywho,
how the devils always get you. That fine print.
and just so you know, anything that Clues consumes in the stream is not considered to be an endorsement of said product.
No.
Sure it is.
But if Pepsi and or Coke would like to sponsor us, sponsorship packages are available. Contact us at eatdrinkroll@gmail.com.
Speaking of which, if we do get any subscriptions or bits
Follows,
or
bits,
follows
all
or
that
anything
after.
like that, we will address them at halftime, and then we'll address them at the end.
Yes.
And if anyone else would like to sponsor the stream, please feel free to reach out to eatdrinkroll@gmail.com.
Yes.
Packages are available.
Because Sprite Zero is the healthy part of any nutritious protein.
Pepsi is not healthy, but tastes good.
Beer. The dinner of champions.
At any rate,
What the hell are we doing?
we're going to play Dungeons and Dragons.
We do play D&D, I swear.
We do eventually get to that at some point in our streams here. So, when we last left Team X, they had ran bravely into a meenlock den and systematically cleared it out.
You
of
say
said-
ran.
It was at a brisk pace. There was a sense of urgency.
Thunuk shuffled. There was not a lot of space to run.
I would beg to differ about the running because one of our party was on the roof most of the
I
time.
was fucking Spider-Man.
Spider Dwarf.
Our Team X moved with a sense of urgency into a meenlock
I'll give it that.
meenlock den.
I'll give you that.
Where they were able to rescue the captives from the Academy Rex Subtilia, as well as Linan Swift, who apparently had been able to take one of them down on her own.
Yeah.
And they had emerged from this underground, let's call it a lair.
A lair.
Their underground lair. and to
Everyone's
the
picky.
applause and adulation of Pinedale.
Which we summarily ignored. By the way.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, there's that after battle kind of, adrenaline. It's like a lot of professional athletes don't always hear the crowd because they're just so focused on, the moment. So it's, being a warrior is kind of like being a professional athlete. So, the centaurs had taken over, commanding the guard, and kind of gotten got the guard on like a crowd control duty, and started sweeping the city, looking for any other incursions. None have been found. And the victims, the captives, are currently being treated by some of the local medicine folks. Just helping them with some herbal treatments, like some herbal calming teas, things of that nature. Blankets around them. Now that would be the opposite of helping them.
It
Unless
might be good.
unless they're fiending for a cat. They could be fiending for
wait.
cocaine. And
Wasn't there like an actual in-game drug that got invented?
There are
Isn't it, like,
tons of
silver or
actual
something?
drugs. There are tons of actual drugs in D&D, dude.
Oh, I'm trying to remember.
There's
what it was
basically
called,
an analog for every drug in existence in D&D already.
I know. I was trying to remember what it
And it's
is.
usually
All I
a
know is
magic spell of
Hugon.
some kind.
Hugon needs a shower.
Hugon
Well, I
is
hope
covered.
We'd actually left off with everyone in the background applauding, and me sitting down next to Linan and going, "All right, lass, where'd you learn to fight?"
And that is important, and I want to hear that discussion.
And Linan is not quite catatonic, but in shock. She's like not really like registering a lot right now. She's got her kids with her. She's hugging onto her kids. Her husband has got like his arm around her, and she's huddled there. And you sit down next to her and say, and she doesn't really like. She's kind of got that 1,000-yard stare going on right now, where she's not really, she looks at you and she just says, "I don't know, I."
At which point I just nod. I pat her on the shoulder. I nod to the husband. I walk away.
Wait, husband's not there. Husband's in.
The husband,
No. They all came after they
they
brought
all
her
came
out.
back?
Yeah,
No.
they
Okay.
brought everyone. They were bringing people out of the main fort.
Okay.
So
and I walk back to the rest. I'm like, we're not going to get anything out of her today. Let's deal with the other issues.
Dren has probably walked off to her shop because she is still covered in shit.
and
Grossness.
And
Razi's covered in
From
poop.
Razi. Yeah, from Razi like flittering it off of me. So I'm headed off to my shop to get clean.
Yeah, you get the impression that Razi is saying to you, "Where's my mommy?"
I would like
Available on stream for $1. A Steam
Shut
for
up.
$1.
one thing I
No,
would like
no.
to. One thing I would like to do is the big stone tablet that Clues was dragging along.
Ah, yes.
I'd like to read it.
Ah. Well,
Do you
this.
chase after me?
Yes, if I need to.
Well, Clues, were you also going to be, or excuse me, Dren, were you also going to be dragging off one of the meenlock corpses to try to strip it for parts?
Well, I still had that. I had one of the claws, didn't I?
You were able to rip, with Thunuk's help, I think you were able to rip one of them off. Were you looking to...
Okay, cool.
I mean, were you looking to
I'm-
totally like field strip this thing, or are you looking, or is the claw enough?
Field strip
I've
a
got
body.
Razi on my shoulder, and I'm 3'2", so this claw is probably the size of me.
So you're just dragging this thing behind.
It's dragging behind me while I've got my little mechanical dragon in
Yeah.
my ear. Yeah,
Still very, very upset about what you
Yes.
had him do.
what I put him through. I keep saying I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'll make it up to you when we get back to the shop.
I'll give you a fresh oil bath.
I'll give
Thank
you
the
all
maker. This
bolts and
oil bath
cogs.
feels so good.
Yeah, oil
Thank
bath,
you, C-3PO.
the whole
You
works.
whiny bastard. Not you, Bob. C-3PO.
He gets it from the person that built him. So
That's definitely true.
So you're gonna like go behind her and lift this she's got it kind of like in her bag of goodies.
Yeah, I'm just gonna be like I'm literally just gonna and delete that, please.
Read what?
The stone tablet.
Cheap in my ear. I open up my little pouch.
You do realize that the stone tablet you're dragging around is like a 4-foot square of
No. I have a bag of, it's basically like it's the bag of holding, so it makes everything small. So when I'm pulling it out, it's doing like that.
The cartoon like ladder coming out of a bag.
Really?
Standing out thing.
That's pretty cool.
How do you have a bag of holding at level 3?
Because the DM let me have it.
I thought she was Horde's person.
She's the Horde's person.
Yeah.
I'm a horse person. Why do you think I have a bag?
Is she a level 2 horse
shit.
person?
I thought the Horde's person bag would allow like things
at level 2. Yeah.
No, this
I thought it was
my thing
forever.
that I tinkered. This is not like anything to do with.
Yeah, it's not an extra. It's more like it's using pin particles to.
It's a plot
shrink.
bag.
It has limited space.
Plot
She
bag.
wouldn't be able to like.
Bag.
It's a plot bag.
Yeah, she wouldn't be able to. It's the same place where Highlander keeps his sword.
Exactly.
I would like to point out that's called a trench coat. Thank you very much.
I saw him pull that thing out of a dinner jacket.
Where the fuck did you get that sword? Shut up. All right.
My pants.
From my pants.
Not that sword.
Yeah,
So
cute.
That one's made of pork.
So I'm gonna pull this thing out, and then.
Like, how long is it going to take me to read this?
Well,
so
I'm gonna show it to him. And be like, do you understand this?
oh yeah, it's written in dwarven.
Ha!
Damn it! That's no fun.
I hate to point it out, I would probably read it anyway because I would have just cast comprehend languages.
You took it too. I
You
took that one
tricksy
too.
bastard.
This is level 1.
I know, it's amazing.
I was gonna turn it around and be like, blah 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 blah. Comprehend languages. This is what it says. So if it's in Dwarvish, though, I probably just hand it to him. I'm going to my shop.
Yeah, and it's not. Some of it is like rubbed out, like worn away. But what you can read of this, it kind of starts like the top part of it is just kind of like it's too chipped and damaged for you to get like anything. So if you can imagine, like in the Last Crusade, when they were trying to piece together the shield, and part of it was just kind of like destroyed. Okay, so that's the top half, and then it gets to. And Januin's spark, though travelled and wearied, and stitched to its lantern, smouldered softly, barely a soul. Janduin's vessel was nothing, no shadow cast. Cast bones could not reveal him. Bones and flesh was he, but invisible to the sight of gods and men, there, but not there, seen, but not seen. For she of the storm had taken him. In his place Fairlith stood, empty of this world, emptier of worlds. Janduin, mighty and brave, now laid low. Janduin, hero, villain, bringer of the void. And in the middle, it's kind of illegible. It's smeared with either blood or wine or both.
You're going to send me this, right?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
And then it continues.
I'm not going to remember.
No, you have to remember this. I want you to memorize this.
Shit.
Aren't you writing this down right
I didn't know there was going to be a quiz.
There's going to be a quiz. And then there's some illegible writing. It's smeared with either blood or wine or both. And then it continues. Nagaru, forged in tranquility among chaos. By and of the four made one, wielded by the soldier's son, freed the father, and she of the storm stumbled, and peace came for a time. And at the bottom it has the actual author notes. And it says, the epic ballad of Janduin's Spring Singer, as translated by Pinedale Marblemaw, fifth Thane of High Mountain, flame of the fire steep, keeper of the hammer of Moradin. I will send all this. I'm not
you.
Yes, please.
Here, no, just ready. Scan and done.
I do have a question. Do you have a question?
Yeah.
Okay.
How do blood and wine obscure carving?
That's a really good question. It's not so much that it was obscuring the carving as much as there was
the carving was one out, and then there was blood and wine.
Yeah, it's like, so it comes to the end. So it's kind of like, why would he carve Arg? It's like in the middle. It's
back
just
of the throat, shock and surprise.
Yeah, he was like in the middle of carving. Something happened in the middle that stained the stone, And then it went on to continue carving.
Okay.
So there's any number of scenarios that could account for why blood and or wine would be spilled in the middle of a dwarf carving a translation.
This sounds a lot like a dwarven ancient story, maybe?
I mean, out of character,
Should I-
Hammer of
Like an
Mordor
epic?
is kind of a big deal.
Possibly do a history check on this?
You-
Maybe.
Could you maybe
Kind
get a little bit? Can maybe get a roll of this? Maybe you can see?
Higher pitched. Even so.
You guys need to work on your higher pitched voices.
That's as high as my voice goes.
You actually did. I was going to say you sound like a Dalek on helium.
That was the point.
Yep.
History. Thanks to my new trait, Jack of all trades.
Ooh.
21.
You fail. No. So yeah. This is you've heard. While you don't know the whole story, there's various translations of it, and it's sort of a it's an exercise that you've heard that certain dwarves of nobility or of learning will do. It's a challenge to try. You've heard of this thing of the epic ballad of Janduin Springsinger, but no one's really been able. The writing is so old and ancient and not arcane. What's the word I'm thinking of right now?
Archaic.
Obscure.
Okay.
Archaic and obscure. That it's actually like a challenge of people have tried like translate certain pieces, and there's a lot of debate over like what different phrases could be translated to.
So this sounds like the Song of Gilgamesh for dwarves.
Yeah, similar. Where it's like it's a story of a hero that by the as a victim of his own hubris fell into I don't want to say kind of fell into darkness, kind of fell to the dark side of things, was tempted. But the story in its entirety, no one's yeah, they do have pretty awesome cookies there. But yeah, but they also have pumpkin spice Oreos, and it's kind of like a mixed,
Cease and desist.
So
You are maligning the dark side.
The dark side with cookies? With Oreos specifically?
It
No,
made
the
Swedish fish Oreos. Did you know that?
Ugh.
Terrible.
Ugh.
No. That would be the dark side.
yeah, that's when you know you've gone too far.
I'm okay with a good Swedish fish, but not an Oreo.
Ugh.
But no one's been able to fully translate it, and there's still debate. There's a lot of heated scholarly debate. They actually have conferences about this when they have like dwarf moots, and there's always going to be a part where someone will fall. And as you know how dwarf moots go, while it is a very friendly intellectual debate, it always ends in fights. It always ends in a fist fights, which then is always followed by the two of them drinking, or however many people are involved in this fight, because there's multiple translations. The fight is immediately followed by heavy drinking, feasting,
Usually
everyone's
together.
friends again. Yes, oh yeah, absolutely. Afterwards, and then it's the best time.
Yep.
Afterwards, we have to do it again soon.
How to make friends with dwarves. 101.
Drink.
Yeah.
Fight.
No, it's
Peace.
get into an argument about the translation of whether they meant and or. As far as that rune means, get into a fist fight where nobody comes out not bloodied, and then drink and eat.
Yep.
And that's
Also, what the type of rock it was inscribed upon.
yeah, or about the original.
What kind of rock is this?
Brian.
Well, no. Okay, so
Ooh,
do
relevance.
no. Do a check on this. And I'm actually
Well,
gonna.
he's a dwarf, so
No,
history?
because there's more to be found. I'm just saying, because your initial check on this as a dwarf, just saying, okay, this is stone, I can tell what kind of stone this is, tells you that this is a Jarrett quarry stone. And you can have an idea of where this was usually quarried. But you're
Spell that for me.
yeah, Jarret,
Yeah,
quarry stone.
quarry stone. Okay.
and which is a kind of like conglomerate type stone.
Yeah, it's like it's an alloy, but for stone.
Yeah, where just the way that the earth cooked in that particular
Metamorphic.
area. Yeah. But your dwarf sense tells you that there's more to this stone than just, hey, this is a slab of stone.
All right.
So this would be, I don't know, what would a stone check be?
Investigation.
Yeah,
Nature?
I think investigation, nature.
Do I get to apply my
Nature.
stone cunning?
Yes, for this, yes.
Lovely.
This would be a stone cunning situation.
This is involving stone. It requires cunning, stone.
And you see, I actually have a list of stone types.
Do you?
I
Oh,
do.
neat.
I'm impressed.
That I'll talk about that later. But
Oh, someone put Sugar Sloth in word jail.
Do we have to?
We don't have to, but
I just said word jail.
okay.
All right. So investigation.
yeah,
Podcasting to be like, what's a sugar?
22.
22. So you've seen this kind of configuration of tablet before, and you know that this type of tablet is actually used for safekeeping papers. It's a means of preserving ancient parchments. So there could be, you know, that there usually is a way to open this safely, because the idea is that if you don't open it the correct way, like if you were just to smash it, it would destroy whatever's inside. So it's not just meant to preserve, it's also meant to protect. You've seen it's basically like a stone safe for papers.
While I decide if I'm going to take the bait or not, let's go work on someone else.
Okay. So were you walking along her, or like dragging this tablet, or did you just kind of sit down in the middle of the square and were you kind of like reading it right away? Like, what was your?
Oh, I plonk it down on the ground.
Okay. So what are the rest of what's everyone else doing here?
I went to my shop.
You went to your shop, so we're gonna come back to that because I want to know what you're gonna be doing to that meenlock claw.
I'm going to need to mute myself for a few moments to try and fix so I get a bit louder. So,
Okay.
Okie
just so you guys know.
dokie. Okay.
Thunuk is going to go look for a nice big barrel of rainwater that looks fairly clean.
Relatively speaking.
Yes.
Not hard to find. They're pretty much everywhere.
And he's going to pick it up and he's going to dump it on
Just-
Hugon.
Oh, I thought you were gonna dump it on yourself. Okay. So
No, like I said, Thunuk is fairly clean. He managed to dodge a bunch of this stuff.
this is true.
He was mostly doing ranged things, and he's had his bath this month, like I said, but he's doing you a favor, as far as he knows.
Yeah.
So Hugon, were you like? Was this a case
Hugon
of where?
was probably on his way to discuss, like, with probably not very nice words, like whoever's in charge of the guard at the moment,
Mm-hmm.
and have like a conversation with him, but in quotes.
Okay, so you go.
So he's like on his way, like getting ready to do the finger in the face, and then
No. I see Thunk doing this like in the middle of your conversation. Like
Right before you get to say something, you're about ready to lay into the guy.
yeah, like you're right, Nick. You're about to lay into the guy. And,
If I may, he's not just going to like in the middle of as he's really tearing into this dude, but he's also going to hit the dude with this bucket of rainwater, and so this dude is now going to get rainwater and meenlock juice on him
because
so this is like a hogshead of.
it's arranged. This is an area effect. This is
Yeah.
All right, so you're gonna go find someone. So you walk up and you see Cloafin and Dryfin speaking with someone who, from your soldier sense tells you that this is probably the one of the captains
Right.
of the town guard.
This an older guy or a younger guy, or a woman? I guess.
Middle-aged guy.
Okay.
So neither. just to be difficult.
Okay,
No, he's
fine.
a middle-aged guy. Kind of. This isn't like necessarily a place where there's a lot of professional soldiering.
Right, but they have a town quote militia or guard or whatever.
Yeah, and it's minimal because there's not. You have to really want to get to Pinedale. And once you're there, even if you're trying like on the run, you're probably not going to be running a lot of scams because there's not a lot of places for you to go.
Right.
if you're not. So
that problem works two ways.
Yeah. Well, as you saw, yeah, because they obviously weren't prepared for what happened this evening.
So Hugon will wait for Clofin and Dryfin to finish speaking, and then he will present himself in front of this guard captain.
Just covered head to toe, bathed in this
black blood.
Black ichor.
Yeah.
Okay.
And looking not very happy.
No, I have this vision in my head when I was thinking about this of like Kratos drenched in blood, but if the blood were black, and all you can really see are the whites of his eyes. They're just like
Yeah.
So what's your approach here? And Thunuk, at any point you feel like it's appropriate, that's when you
Okay.
go ahead and clean up. So
All right, so first things first, introductions are in order. So Hugon will offer a hand and say Hugon Vallander Acquisitions Incorporated.
And he introduces himself as Philip Case, the captain of the guard.
Captain Case, I have to lodge a formal complaint.
He says, against?
The rather lackadaisical security that the guard was providing.
He says, we're not used to this kind of...
I can tell.
We've never had anything like this happen, so we were completely caught unawares. We were very, very fortunate that your team was here. We were very fortunate that the centaurs were here, the Clofin was here, Dryfin were here. We need to do better.
Then we're in complete agreement. Would you be willing to have a conversation with the head of the town, with me, presenting this evidence as a need to do better, a need to be more prepared, and a need to understand the level of threats that may or may not be coming?
And Clofin actually says, that's actually what we were just speaking with Captain Case about, and we were going to come find you. It seems like we need to have a more in-depth conversation.
I agree.
What happens tonight, because this is unprecedented.
It may be unprecedented, but at the same time,
we need to figure out what our next step should be.
Right. Solutions need to be had.
Yes.
So, at everyone's convenience, hopefully soon, a conversation needs to be had with the head of the government here. Lay out or determine plans, fix problems, shore up weaknesses, maybe institute new training protocol, increase size.
Right in the middle of this whole sentence right here, as you're listing things off, this is when the water comes. Because I get the feeling it's not going to matter. Hugon's just going to keep going with that list. I get the feeling.
Yeah, just as you keep.
There's like a 10-second pause where he's like spitting water out of his mouth and like rubbing his face and like doing the, and then he continues exactly.
I mean, and like Captain Case is like horrified because you think he got some in his mouth. Some of this stuff got in his mouth.
Yeah, Hugon definitely got some in his mouth, and he just.
But this is like, in the course of your battles, you've probably gotten someone else's blood in your mouth at some point.
Oh,
mud, all sorts of awful things.
Viscera.
Yeah, exactly. Whereas this is something new for him, so he's starting to turn a little green. So hang on, let me see what.
Your dice tower produces trash rolls, Brian.
No, I think this is going to be a golden roll because that was his constitution roll.
So he pukes everywhere.
And he just, as he's... just everywhere.
Redline the microphone.
Just and to the point where like the centaurs who were like not really upset with like getting some of the ichor on their hooves are now backing up. He gets this all down the front of you, like the lower half, and like it almost like the rain barrel. You almost need to get another one now because it's just it's the meenlock blood has now been replaced with his vomit.
I like Hugon's not exactly happy about this, but again, it's more like
some days you just don't pay to wake up.
He like hits his shoulder, like get it all out, come on.
And he's like, I'm so sorry.
Look, puke this way. If you're gonna throw up.
And he's doing the whole like, I'm so sorry.
Yeah, it's like a mucus and tears.
Just
Does Thunuk go to find another barrel of water? I picture Thunuk like, I just got you clean.
He's actually going to look at it. That's kind of pathetic, but here.
Again, Thunuk's eating some pretty weird shit too.
Yeah, he puts the barrel down in front of the captain, like, use this next time. And he looks around. He's like, should I get another barrel? And he's like, nah, there's too much of everywhere else because of all the other stuff. So he's just gonna let someone else take care of it.
Yeah, this is because now you got the smell of the blood mixing with the smell of the vomit. You're pretty sure you're about to set up a chain vomit somewhere else, just for, but far enough away where it's not gonna. I mean, that could be the rest of the game, really. How far did the chain vomit go? But we're not gonna play that part of it.
No, we're not gonna play that part. Right, we won't.
So, he says. So he's sitting there and he's doing the whole thing where he's like, still gonna, dry heaves, and he's just like doing the whole spit, like the line of drool is just coming out. He's just like, we'll get something on the calendar for tomorrow morning, for everyone that needs to be involved. And you can see he's kind of a little dizzy now and just.
Listen, man, Captain Case, go sit down. Just
head between your knees.
Get off your feet. Sit down.
Not here. Somewhere else.
We'll talk about it later, okay?
One wonders how he became captain of the guard with such a weak constitution.
Right. It's probably like a ceremonial appointment up until now.
Listen, I'll tell you, I've got a strong stomach, but there's times if I have to listen to my dog throw up, that's the thing that does it.
That is a special sound.
There's special things that just somehow just triggers that nerve that just reverse gears, and that's.
Thunuk's gonna hand
got their triggers,
Captain a little knob of ginger.
Oh, okay. Give him a little
chew on. Yeah.
Oh, there you go. And
then he's gonna walk.
And he sort of like nods you a thank you. That's all he can like manage. He's got his head between his knees. He's trying not to
pat him on the back.
Yeah,
and like Hugon's like, oh God, just look, somebody your captain's having some problems. Come on.
And they're all busy doing like crowd control. They're on they're patrolling right now. So he's probably he's like I'll be okay. I'm sorry.
I hope. Took that a little hard there.
So let's go over to Drenmai's workshop.
Okay.
Which at the moment is vomit free.
Yes.
For now.
That could change. Things can change.
The great night of vomiting.
We were over there. I was cleaning myself off. I got Rozzy nice and clean, trying to like oil and feeding him lots of like bolts and whatever that he wants. Make him feel better. I'm sorry. Blame the dwarf.
Do you like heat up? Is there like a special like oil like that you can like heat up for him? Is like he gets like a hot oil bath?
He could. Well, it would just be kind of the like the WD-40 stuff.
Yeah.
So you could kind of like we could put up like a little a little bowl for him, and he could just like splash around in there, you know, spit out some oil.
Yeah, and he does it. He kind of like splashes around with the wings a little bit, makes it, and he kind of like
Yeah.
And then he kind of like he does the whole like otter thing where he like dives under and like
Yeah. And you know how dogs, like, when they get in like water dogs and they do this, he's probably doing some of that. The oil's getting places everywhere. Whatever.
It's like when you see a bear playing in it, just it's like small though as he's making. He likes the little splash. And then finally he like curls up and he's got his head like on the edge of the edge of the bowl, and he just kind of
like, okay, this is good.
He's gonna sit in his oil spot.
He's very happy now. You're like, okay, so while he's
in his oil jacuzzi,
his jacuzzi of oil. He's content over there. So after at least somewhat gotten some of the muck off of me, I've got this giant claw that I imagine is fairly large because they're fairly large creatures.
Yeah, they're pretty big. So this would be, let me look it up again so I can. Oh, look! I went right to the page. So they're they're considered small. So they're going to be, probably Korben sized.
They're not going to be that much bigger than you. So
yeah.
Okay.
So so the claw is going to be, but we'll say it's a pretty good sized claw. They're not proportioned the same way that a normal human is. So it's going to be a little bit long, kind of long for its body.
Okay. I think what I'm gonna do with this one, kind of plop it up on my workshop, and I'm trying to think about how it can be best used because
their leaking.
Guts. Yeah, their guts are that like liquid stuff. So I'm probably like trying to clean out anything that's liquid-ish from it,
Power wash it,
dry it out, and then I want to take like that big portion of a claw. So the bigger one.
The top part or the hinge part?
Yeah, like the top part.
Okay.
The whole top part of it. So what I'm going to do is take that kind of hooked top part and I'm going to cut it in half. So that way it's like 2 halves of an almond.
Okay, so you're taking it and you're going to split it in 2.
Yeah, I'm
so
splitting it so there's like 2 halves of an almond kind of thing going on.
Okay.
And I'll probably one half. I don't need the bottom half and one of the halves that I just opened up. I'll stick somewhere in the shop, and there's probably like piles of just God knows what all over the place.
Oh yeah, as you're doing this is not like a clean process where you're opening it up and it's like leaking, and it's like that scene in Jaws when they cut the shark open and it just dumps, and but it's all like it's the black stuff and it's got like the meat. You got the meat on the inside because the claw is like one of like the tastiest parts, right? I mean that's where most of the meat is.
Do not eat the meenlock. No.
Save it for Hugon later.
No, don't. No.
Imagine a dark lobster.
Shut up.
So I think what I'm gonna do is since it's kind of got that like
meenlock, it's all dark meat.
Drop, I'm gonna take the half of it and I'm gonna clean it up and kind of since they had pretty good armor, I'm gonna make this into a mini shield.
Oh.
So I'm going to probably attach like a couple of leather bands on the inside.
Describe to me. So are you just out of 1/2 you're making?
Yeah,
shield?
just out of 1/2. So you know how...
So more of like is that like a pauldron? Like it's kind of like what Cap had in Infinity War where it's just kind of like smaller on the one arm type shield? Is that what you're... Okay.
So you've got the 1/2 of a claw is in this kind of... like
I'm trying to imagine this.
Shape.
Hang on. Okay, yeah.
So if you turn it this way, I'm gonna put some like where you would hold it armband wise.
Oh, okay.
And then we're gonna have it be this way since it's about roughly my size. It'd be a good sized shield for me, and they had decent defense. Okay. So I'm gonna kind of turn it upside down. I'm gonna clean it out, maybe reinforce it a little bit. Exactly.
I like it.
Okay.
So I'm gonna work with this for a bit and turn this into my little mini shield.
I like this. Okay, so we're gonna come back to that and we're gonna figure out.
Yeah, whatever you want to give me stat wise on that, we can figure that out later.
Yeah, we are gonna take a look at that.
I'm gonna make it so that way it's something that I can attach to my back. So it'll be like turtle shell-esque since it's about my size. I imagine it should be like a good chunk, but it'll kind of curve. Since it is a half of a claw.
Yeah. Hang on, I just want to see here. Armor. Okay, so you don't have any proficiencies in armor, so it would be a
No.
case. So when you're,
I'm just going off my tinkerer shit.
Yeah. So if you were to use this, we would say that you would take a, that you'd have a negative dex bonus.
Okay.
You'd have, yeah, because I think that would slow you down because you're not used to wielding it. It would be more like, so when you have it out, you'd have to, we're going to say it's going to reduce your range of how far you can move in a turn.
Okay.
And it's going to, with the spell casting, I would say that while you're wearing that, you would not be able to do ones that required any kind of gesticulation.
Okay.
Right? Because usually require both hands, and because you don't have the proficiency in that, it would be hard for you to like balance this and do it one. But when you do have it, let's take a look here.
Yeah, because I also want to have, since I want to have it on my back, I want it to at least give me some kind of ish protection from behind stuff.
But we will say that when you are carrying that thing, that it does give you +2 AC.
Woohoo!
So it's a trade-off between being able to cast essentially and having higher AC.
Yeah. So in a situation where it would limit what you're able to do. And it's because you don't have the proficiency in it. But it's like a choice. It's kind of like you can either change your loadout.
So if I'm wearing it, I get the plus AC. But if I'm using it, lower on the casting.
Yeah, and I would say that would probably be that we're going to call that an action. Again, if it were like Hugon switching out a shield for something else, he's so practiced with that, he's able to quickly switch, right? But in this case, because this is kind of new, this would be your action is deploying the shield for yourself.
So
or
it
putting
uses
it away.
an action to deploy.
Yeah, exactly. Now, if you just wanted to drop it, I'm not going to count dropping your shield as a action.
Well, no, I likely wouldn't drop it. It would just, since it's just attached to my back, I'd leave it there.
No, I mean like if you're in a situation where you put your shield on, that's an action, and then you're like, crap, I want to cast this spell. You could drop the shield. That would be like a bonus because that's just drop, right? And then you do your spell, and then it would take another action for you to redon the shield.
Yeah, new equipment. Okay, cool. So yeah, that's probably what I'm going to be working on, is just kind of refining this shield that I want to, figuring a way that I want to attach it to my back when I'm carrying it.
Okay. And are you going to what are you going to do with the rest of this arm?
Currently the lower part and the other half are just off to the side of my shop.
In the junk pile.
I haven't discarded it, but it's over there in the I'll figure it out in the future section.
And I might need it at some point.
Yeah, you never know. Somebody's going to come in. Hey, do you have any meenlock guts? I'll be like, I do.
They're a little rotty.
Here's a bottle.
Well, you do have your vial of the meenlock blood that you did.
I do. I still have my vial.
From either Hugon or Korben ripping the damn thing's head off. Or no, that was from Thunuk smashing the thing against the wall.
Yes.
Pancaking the thing with his shillelagh.
Oh yeah.
Yes. And I got my vial, which is probably stowed. It's like somewhere underneath with all of my various collections.
Okay. So, are there any other things that people would like to take care of before retiring for the evening? Because it is getting kind of a little bit later in the evening. And...
After I'm done probably fussing, I want to go find the dwarf Bruce Willis. Because I think we need to talk to the centaur still, right?
Well, I'm going to wait for the elves to get back.
Everyone came back, right?
She went off into the forest to find more druids.
Yeah.
So I'm going to wait for them to come back.
She did say it was going to probably be a few hours before they could make it back into town.
Before I go to bed, I'm going to wait for them to come back.
That's fine.
Okay. Okay. Then I'll be still tinkering in my shop.
If you want to come talk to the dwarf is just going to be awake.
Well, I'm just thinking because we had the whole negotiations thing get messed up.
Mm-hmm.
Talking to the centaurs might.
We can deal with that in the morning.
I don't know what to do with that whole situation.
While I am waiting for the druid and other druids to return, I am going to pull out a piece of Official Acquisitions Incorporated letterhead, parchment, and quill, and start making out a bill. And it's going to be incredibly detailed and use.
Well, you're going to itemize it.
It's going to be itemized to a detail of things that they don't fucking understand. Like, we're going to go into proton charging and storage of the beast. And, so, yeah, just...
Well, you have parts, right? I mean, because you have to recoup your parts. And then there's, like, there's
labor,
various...
obviously.
Labor, yeah, there's the labor
danger
charge.
Pay.
There's the surcharge. There's the danger surcharge.
There's the protect everybody at the fucking festival surcharge.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now that might fall underneath their group rate because there were so many that were saved.
No. What's going to actually happen is like they're supposed to pay per head, but I'm going to give them the group rate because I'm such a benevolent dwarf.
So it's more of like a flat charge. Like once you reach to a certain level, it's cheaper just to get the flat charge.
Once you can stuff enough in that box, you just ship as much as can fit in that box.
Once you get to the free shipping level, then you just keep going.
Yeah.
And then there's holiday pay because this was technically a holiday.
Hazard pay.
That was
included hazard pay. Yeah.
Well, no. Is hazard and danger two different things?
Technically, yes, but again, I'm giving them the friend rate.
Oh, okay. Well, this is the introductory. This is like the first time.
2.5 on weekends.
So this is kind of like when you go to Hand and Stone Spa for the first time, where only the first time is 50. After that, you need to get the subscription.
Yeah.
It's like the introductory rate.
So then I'm going to walk up to I'm sure there's a magistrate who's come to check out what's going on.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm going to walk up. Bear in mind, I'm the Pete Venkman of this group, where I didn't get covered in shit.
You just have like the little
a little bit dirty.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I gave you spidey senses.
Because I was crawling on the roof the whole time. Yeah.
Like your knees are a little dusty.
Yeah. So I'm going to walk up and I'm going to start to hand in the thing. I'm like, oh, I'm sorry, and I add a line which is time and a half on weekends. And,
I like it.
And I hand it over.
For some reason, Dren does a little yay in her shop. No reason why.
She detects it.
I detect it because I'm the hordes person. Yay!
So here, let me get a.
And it says at the bottom, it says monies payable to Acquisitions Incorporated teams, Anagog, hordes person, Drenmai Jemweaver. Blah 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 blah.
Okay, so you were able to find one of the clerks.
No. I'm not giving this to a clerk. I'm giving this to a magistrate.
Well, so I mean, the
council member.
Oh yeah, so the council members, you would need to go. They're basically they're elected officials, but it's not like a full-time job.
Yeah, but if you don't think the council member are
no, they're there. So you would have to.
I'm walking straight up to them. I'm ignoring any guard, any lesser employee, and I am making a beeline for a counselor.
Well, there's 5 that you can try to find if you would like to do that.
Okay, what are the names of the 5?
Here are the 5 council members.
Okay.
Yeah, we have names
of Pinedale. And obviously, because when you go into a town, you're going to know who the governing people are. You're going to know who they are, how to find them. These are, and as you know from your introductory packets that you received from AC Inc. when it was part of the prospectus. When you were examining this, that they're elected to 3-year terms, but it's like there's a different counselor elected that's up for election each year, so that way it's not all 5 are ever up for election at the same time. Usually it's only 2 at a time. And so you've got Magsis, who is a half-orc woman who is a blacksmith. She sits on the council. You have Araga Greensleeves, who is a female elf carpenter who sits on the council. Shiror Shortencard, who is a male halfling cleric of Timora. He sits on the council. Azerbaijan Olmester, who's of Clan Dunderlack of the Merthwatch, who is who is one of the brewmasters of Pinedale.
Name was
Oh my God.
Azerbaijan.
Yeah, EEJIA
Oh, man.
BIAZAN. Azerbaijan.
That's
Almost.
the actual place, you know that, right?
Well, Azerbaijan is a place.
Azerbaijan.
Azerbaijan.
This one's spelled with
This is Azerbaijan.
Azerbaijan.
Yeah.
So, is there like a big crowd of people?
And the last, well, I'll just give you the last name, and again, I'll be able to send all this to you guys. Shaward Fletcher, who's a male half elf botanist. So those are the 5
Oh,
counselors.
he totally wants to go find the elf.
Well, there's a half elf. There's an elf. There's
Is there a big group of people?
No, you can see everyone's kind of like tending to various things. They're not like groups together meeting at this point. They're like
Right, so
around.
I'm just gonna stand in the middle of everything and just go. Which one of you is Greensleeves, the counselor?
And
because that's the only one I remembered.
Yeah, no problem. And so Araga, this tall, dark-haired elf, was dealing with one group of people, and she like perks up and she looks over and she like waves and she makes her way over. She still has like well, I guess no, a carpenter doesn't wear a leather apron, so it'd be more like she's got like the loose fitting like clothing that's going to allow for like but she does have the belt on that has like the a hammer hanging from tools, that, different measuring devices. Mm-hmm. She's got all the like and she's got like these what are they called when it's like the pockets that like hang from the belt but like strap onto your legs.
You got a tool belt.
Oh,
well, it's like a tool belt. I'm sorry,
drop pouches.
Like holsters.
Yeah, drop pouch. Yeah, it's like a drop pouches that are as she's moving. You can tell there's like various like nails and things that are shaking around in there.
Screws and stuff.
Exactly, various means of attaching lumber to other lumber.
Attaching one thing to other more different thing.
Yes.
All right.
Or sometimes the exact same thing, depending on what she's trying to do.
So I'm gonna, when she comes over, I'll bow to her and say, I apologize for pulling you away from your work, counselor. But I'd asked around and you seem to be the only council person around here.
Yes, it's been a terrible night, and so yeah. How can I help?
Just out of interest, where'd the other ones make off to?
Oh, they're around helping people. People are panicking right now, so they're meeting with constituents to try to.
I was just trying to find out if they needed anything from us, any more from us, should I say? So I'm sorry to do this, but
he's not sorry.
Korben is very sorry. I'm sorry to have to do this, but. And I present her the bill.
And
amazing.
So she looks at this, and she's just. I mean, we'll have to look at this I'll have to look at this with the rest of the council. I mean, I'm not.
Well, I'm not expecting you to pay straight away. That would be criminal.
And you're like the financing and payment. Like, well, we've got financing options. You can
always work out some kind of payment plan, or like
talk to our hordes person.
You can always talk to our hordes person about that. See Drenmai, she's good with that kind of thing. She likes her shinies.
I imagine this is like when you're going to buy windows, and it's like, I can't afford the windows. Oh, but here's our payment plan, and if you. And there's all sorts of paperwork that goes with that, depending on which way you want to do it. We got the 30-month, we've got the 12-month plan, the 36-month plan.
And then I'll be like, look,
just adjust the interest.
I wish I could just say that we did this out of the goodness of our heart, because most of us did. But we're a member of a company that if we didn't charge for our services, would probably have us fired out of a cannon into a volcano.
Yes, I've heard of Omendron before.
He's got a reputation.
He does have
Yes.
a reputation.
So, no, I know that Cloefin had mentioned that we need to have a meeting with all interested parties tomorrow. So obviously we'll be able to. I'll have the ear of the rest of the counselors tomorrow. We can discuss this and figure out what would be the best way to proceed with this. We don't want to, while we thank you, we understand that we need to, pay for services rendered.
Aye, of course. The other thing you may want to look at in your meeting, shall we say, is your security protocols. But Cloefin's already said that he's gonna do his thing, so
Yes, Captain Case has brought this to my attention as well. So these will all be things that we'll be able
I
to
would
discuss.
also like to personally apologize for sending like 200 people towards the keep.
Well, I mean, it seemed to be the safest place for them, so I don't think there's
Exactly.
Yeah. So, but tomorrow morning, obviously, your team should come to this meeting tomorrow.
I'm sure we'll work something out once we've actually recovered from saving the town.
Yeah. Thank you for that. If no one has said that, thank you.
Well, we got a smattering of applause, but hearing the words is a much needed balm to the wounds. Says the person that took absolutely no damage.
And as you're saying that, she like looks over your shoulder and she sees like someone like waving to her, and she's like, "You'll have to forgive me. I need to."
Absolutely. It was a pleasure to meet you, Councillor.
Thank you. A pleasure meeting you as well.
Oakenthanes, blessings of the Oakenthanes be upon you. And bow and step away.
Okay.
And then I go wait for the druids to come back.
Alrighty. So Dren is tinkering with her shield. Korben is doing his kind of waiting thing. Hugon and Thunuk, what are your guys' plans for the evening?
Bathe and sleep. No, bathe, drink, then sleep.
Oh wow, you're actually gonna sleep this time.
Bathe, drink, action surge.
Second win.
Action surge. Superiority dice. Second win.
Bardic inspiration.
I have those options now.
Bardic inspiration.
Bardic inspiration. Action surge. Second wind.
Yeah.
Oh, jeez.
He used his bardic inspiration for the day.
He did. It was
Yeah.
actually quite helpful.
Can I cast comprehend language for him to be able to use it so he can go talk to any possible culmination of people that he might encounter?
It's not
You can speak all the tongues.
Unfortunately.
Oh God.
One might say he's a cunning linguist.
Oh.
Exactly.
Oy vey.
Oh no.
We went there.
We didn't there.
Hey, look, I mean, I
had
make no
to.
apologies.
Quality stream.
Once
we have.
again, this is the kind of quality entertainment
Nice.
that can be brought to you on Eat Drink Roll every Sunday at 4 p.m. Eastern.
But no, actual sleep.
Okay. So you can go find a place to wash the rest of this
Bullshit.
off. Get yourself a stiff shot of something, or so. What is Hugon's drink of choice? Is he a beer guy? Is he a hard liquor guy?
What is Hugon's drink of choice? I think the answer is yes.
Nah, but even then, I mean, you got. I mean, he'll drink whatever's wet. But if given the option in
Yeah,
a well,
he will.
in a
I'm sorry you set it up for
Phrasing.
me.
Yep.
so, but
Wrap it up.
in a well-stocked bar, given his druthers, what would be his go-to? Is he kind of like so used to like the moonshine that's like he's gonna go for the cheapest, most like gasoline-like stuff on the
No.
shelf? Or,
That's a
he's drinking lamp oil, or is he?
no. I think
Something close to military issue.
no, nothing close to military issue at this point. I think
That's why he got out of the military.
No. There's been a couple of benders. Yeah, I could tell you.
Because there's always the rot gut. There's always the rot gut that they brew like illegally,
hanging from it beneath the wagons.
Yeah, exactly. Like whenever they. Yeah, there's always like stuff. Like soldiers will always find a way to make hooch.
Alcohol.
They will always find a way to make hooch when there's not hooch available.
Hugon will probably just have something, just normal.
Lucky I didn't go off that phrase.
Okay, so he's a liquor guy. He's
for this scenario, yes, this is a liquor scenario, and he will have some. He won't get absolutely bonkers shit faced.
It's more just take the edge off.
Take the edge off. Go relax in a chair somewhere and then go to bed.
Okay, so you're gonna you'll find some place, probably another rain bucket or something to get this ook off of you.
Yeah.
I'm guessing you.
Does the Nymph and Harper not have bathing facilities?
Yeah.
I thought we all had the facilities there.
Yeah.
I will definitely be leveraging those.
Okay, so you go, you take you bathe, get all the stuff off you. You probably get some clean clothes on that don't smell like meenlock blood or vomit.
Mm-hmm.
And you hang on a second here. Let me pull this up. Got to pull up my character list because I didn't print this one out here. So you sit down at the bar, and Sahar, the proprietress of said bar, nods to you and she says, "What are you drinking?"
Whiskey.
And
Neat, please, no water.
And she says, "Why would I ruin it?"
Now.
She says, "Why would I ruin it with water?"
Well, some people like weakness.
So she starts looking at she starts to reach into the well, and she looks up at you. She goes to the back of the bar, and she reaches behind one of the bottles that's back there, and you hear a soft click, and a panel opens up to the side, and you see her reach in, and she pulls out this very old looking bottle. Very old looking bottle. That's just it's dusty, and you could barely see through it.
You ever seen the movie Silverado?
No, I have not.
Okay. Rectify that situation.
Okay.
Because it's awesome. It's the cheesiest Western I've ever seen.
Right,
but it's fantastic. They pull the bottle that you've just described out and set it down, and one of the bartender lady goes, "This is the good stuff," and serves it to the gunslingers. It's pretty great.
So, well, you know this is good.
Yeah.
It's old, right?
It's old. It's ancient. It's probably not human.
And it's looks like it had a label on it at one point, but it's just worn away to nothing. Mm-hmm. And she works the cork out of it, and she puts a glass down in front of you, and she pours 2 fingers worth in of what you smell is
death.
No. This is make a death save. No. It's oaky and peaty, and it's just it's pungent. It's got this. It singes your nose hairs, but in that really pleasant way, where you can smell the woodiness of it. You can smell the peat moss coming off of this.
Someone got the blue label.
So she pours this down for you, and she says, "You guys earned it."
Picks up the glass and salutes her with it. Appreciate it. It's been a long time.
She nods. Yeah, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I was gonna say it's been a long time since I've gotten for lack of a better term, into the shit.
She
So
nods and puts the cork back in and puts the bottle back into the compartment, slides the compartment shut. You hear a soft click as it locks itself.
I drink in silence.
And this is smooth.
Mm-hmm.
You've had rotgut before, which that'll take the enamel right off your teeth.
Right, it'll sterilize a wound.
It'll sterilize a wound. It'll cauterize a wound,
which is what it's probably designed for.
Listen,
Absolutely.
multitasking. You don't want a unitasker. This is just the rock gut that has been made to like take the axle grease off of axles.
Right.
Right. You've had decent whiskey before, and when you've had a few coin, you wanted to celebrate something. You've had decent whiskey before. You've had good whiskey before when you've actually been maybe on a campaign somewhere and there were some
commendation parties.
Exactly. Something is maybe liberated from someone's liquor cabinet.
Right.
Those all pale in comparison to how smooth, and you actually get flavor. You can actually pick up individual flavor notes in this.
Mm-hmm.
You've had 20-year whiskey. You've had 50-year whiskey. Give me a God, what kind of roll would this be? This would be a this not an investigation. I'm trying to think what kind of roll this would be for you to.
If he's super into it, a history check.
Yeah.
He's got the knowledge. He's already got all the history into it. So history check.
I mean, it's not like you have sommelier as a skill.
As of now, you can. I'm declaring that a skill.
I need to not roll a d12 when you call for a d20.
That does.
I was
help.
Where are there so few sides?
What?
What's
How
going
come
on?
I only roll 12s? Guys, this d20's broken.
I have a 22 on this roll.
You are convinced that this whiskey is at least 200 years old.
It's Korben aged.
Yeah.
This was laid down in an oak barrel.
Amateur.
Well over at least 200 years ago.
So probably not made by human hands.
You would pick this up as being more of a dwarven varietal from what you've tasted.
Gotcha.
You couldn't put your finger on the exact house that made the exact clan that made this. But this, you know that this is of extraordinary vintage that you just had.
So this is something you sit down and take over the course of an hour.
This is
a sipper.
Savor.
Yeah.
This is not a, hey, I'm going to sit here and drink this as fast as I can because, we just graduated from academy, guys.
Yeah, shut up.
This is one of those things where you have it and you talk to your friends about it for years to come.
Yeah.
And as you're tasting it, you could reflect on what just happened for the night, but you find yourself more reflective about the better times. And you're doing it's that nostalgia pang, but in a good way, where it's not like, the best times are behind me. It's more like the fond memories that you had with friends and family.
Mm-hmm. Remembering drinks at bars in the past.
Yeah. One sip brings you back just to one summer afternoon, having an impromptu archery contest where no one came anywhere near hitting the target. Another sip brings you back to, another time. Again, each one brings just unearths new. So as much as you're able to savor this drink, you can savor the memory that comes along with it.
Right.
So after I hand over the bill, I want to go back and sit on the stone tablet.
Just, I don't know. I don't know if you can read it that way.
Well, I'm not trying to read it. And I'm watching the town recover.
Mm-hmm.
And Do I see Thunuk anywhere?
That's a good question. Thunuk, where are you?
Looking for dead mice.
So yes.
I've got that owl still. That little.
Oh, okay.
Owl. I gotta feed the owl.
Ow.
So I need a dead mouse. This owl has seen some weird crap tonight. It's a little bit stressed.
He comes across a DJ for some reason instead of dead mice.
God damn it.
You know, there was a time where I said I really wanted a dungeon master. It'd be great to play Dungeons and Dragons again.
Why did you pick us?
And I said, I met these cool people at PAX. Maybe we should run a D&D game.
That was your first
And
mistake.
everything was fine up until this moment. Where I'm now questioning all of my life decisions.
No. There was it broke down way.
You've been in denial.
This wagon broke down long ago.
I'm gonna turn this car around if you're not careful, boy.
So, okay, so you're around...
I think I'm gonna call Thunuk over.
Mhm.
I want to have, I kind of want to have a conversation with him.
Would Thunuk kill a mouse?
No,
Or would
he's
you-
specifically looking for a dead one.
Okay.
So,
There's been lots of trampling going on.
yes.
Yeah, so it's... Well, I mean, mice die.
That's,
Terrible
and
world.
if nothing
Mice
else
die,
happens-
screws fall out of doors.
If nothing else happens, there'll probably be one occupying a mousetrap back at the inn when he returns.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
But
Yeah, I think I'm gonna call Thunuk over.
he'll come on over.
Do you mind
Do you have any
if I
mice for
ask
me?
you a question about it, big man?
Not really.
So you're a religious man, yeah?
Oh yes, very much so. The four have been guiding me for a long time.
What led you to pick the four?
I didn't.
I didn't pick 4Life. 4Life picked me.
Your life picked me.
I didn't.
Going somewhere. Stay with it.
I've just, I don't know. They've always guided me.
If you never,
You get to choose.
Yeah, you can choose whatever you like, religion-wise.
Oh,
It's part of the point of religion, isn't it?
I just always
Have
had
you
them.
never thought of searching, lad?
No, it's just the four have always been there, and they've always talked to me. So I've always just sort of
If you
worked
never
with
asked,
them.
like, what else that is?
I figure there is other things, but
You ever looked for them?
I've got a path.
You ever looked for them, like, state of interest or whatever?
I've never really felt a need. I went to my master very young for learning.
Do you not think you should, though?
Maybe. I can always try, but
Bear with me for a second.
okay.
And he'll get up for a sec. And I'm assuming there are, like, lanterns on posts around the...
Yes. Yeah.
Right? So Korben's literally just going to take one and go sit back down. Right? And he's going to point at a wall, like, that's near them. And he's going to narrow the aperture of the wall, of the lantern.
Mm-hmm.
He's going to point at the wall. And he's going to say, look, if I take this lamp and shine it at the wall, like a bright spot appears on the wall, right?
hmm
Imagine that this lamp is our search for the truth, right?
Okay. It's like a sun.
Right.
Yeah.
Too often, someone like yourself, or someone who learns at a very early age only one way of doing things, assumes that the light on the wall is their religion, their god, right? But the light is not the goal of the search. Like the light is not the goal of the lamp, right?
Uh-huh.
So he then turns it like he turns the wick so the light inside the lamp gets brighter, right?
Mhm.
And he's like if you take a bright light and shine it on the wall, like, is that just a more intense way of looking at things? And then like he opens the aperture on the lamp and he goes, and if this light is now spread wider on the wall, is that just one bigger god, or is that like more gods? Or is it just a greater sense of revelation upon seeing it?
That's
Or
very
is there
complicated.
someone like you who doesn't bring a lantern and doesn't see anything but that one little patch on the wall? Like, what we perceive per person as religion is like, it's like a byproduct of the search, surely. So if you've never done the search, how do you know you've picked the right religion?
Oh. See,
Because I'm sitting here
uh-huh.
and I'm making a really complicated metaphor with a fucking lantern in my hand,
Uh-huh.
when all I want to do is turn the lantern on all the people in this town who have been put upon and scared and attacked tonight. And I can't help but think, why would a god let this happen? A benevolent god.
I would.
Or is the point to illustrate that anything can happen, which means we need to cast, and he turns back again, the light on the wall wider so that we just see the wall in all its beauty. That went way deeper than I intended it to.
I think you have probably lost Thunuk halfway through that when after you confirmed it. It is like the sun. He's like, I like the sun. The sun is warm.
I'm like, I'm sitting here, and I now see all of the wall, but I also see all of its flaws. And does that help me understand the wall better? Or is it just still a wall? I have completely lost you, haven't I?
Little bit.
And I stand up to put the lamp back and just pat him on the hip and put the lamp back and go back to sitting on the.
Thunuk is actually going to sit right down next to you. And he's very intrigued by something you said. So, are you saying that other people who have gods chose their gods?
Aye.
They don't get kicked. They don't get kicked out of their families when they're not sent away to do stuff.
No.
Well,
not all of them. Some of them do.
How old are gods?
You're probably asking the wrong person. Because I don't really believe in them. Well, I mean, I believe in them, but I don't follow one. Like, they clearly exist. Otherwise, you wouldn't be able to do what you do.
Makes sense.
Doesn't mean I have to follow one slavishly.
Slavish.
Not to mention, like, new gods could be birthed at any time with enough belief.
That's very true. Huh.
Yeah. Did you never get the choice to choose your own path? Oh.
Mm.
You have to, like, your parents were like, right, now you're following the four, you wee Sassenach.
Oh no! When I started telling my family about the four, they left me behind.
Oh.
They left me with my master,
Right.
so I could learn.
So were you like chosen by the four, or did you happen to just trip them over them in the forest one day and go, oh look, four things?
No, I've just what? I would say that they have always been there. It's like having that voice in your head that says, "That's dumb, don't do it," or "That was mean,
What
you
would
shouldn't
you
have done that."
do if I told you I have that voice too,
Uh-huh.
but I don't follow the four?
Does the voice always sound the same?
Yeah, sounds like me.
Like you?
Yeah, like I'm telling myself that's a stupid idea.
No, that's not the four.
I'm not. I know it's not the four. But my point being is, you don't need the four to have that reaction in your brain.
Oh no, I always had that reaction. It's just that sometimes the four would say something along the lines of, "Well,
And I would
maybe you
say
should,
that's really not a good idea.
because you should do this other thing, maybe," or they'd have suggestions like, maybe you can go left instead of right and pick up this thing and do that, and
So they're
and
literally controlling your destiny. Do you always listen to them?
no, they sort of just suggest things. And
Can I ask you a question? Like,
okay,
who suggested that you join Acquisitions Incorporated? Was it the four?
it was the four. It was spring.
Just the four are spring, summer, autumn, and winter.
Yeah.
So you follow the seasons.
Kind of. Well, no, they're also the four.
No. I understand there are lots of. What's the word I'm looking for? That really broke a really cool piece of RP there. There are lots of cultures that worship harvest deities and seasonal deities. That's nothing new. But to see them all represented under one banner, that's something new to me.
Huh.
Like, I wasn't trying to like set you on this path of trying to find another god or whatever, but
Uh-huh.
I just had to know a little bit about your religion. And since I'm waiting here for the high and mighty elf lady that can't hit the goddamn side of a barn to get back, what better time?
Yeah. I can understand that. So who taught you stuff?
What do you mean taught me stuff?
Well, you do these mimes, the whole like strumming of a lyre, but like as if it's not there, but there isn't one.
My magic isn't so much my abilities aren't so much divine as they are arcane.
Oh.
While I was in the monastery, there was a arcane aligned teacher there, and I studied at her side for several years. But a lot of it came as a byproduct of being able to tell stories. To tell you the truth.
Hmm.
And most of those stories I learned through reading books.
It's hard to read books. They're very small. Breakable.
You know, we could get bigger books, right?
Are they stronger?
I would assume so.
Bigger, more stronger books.
My master wouldn't let me read his books because I ruined the first few that he let me read.
Get you books that you could read.
That sounds nice.
Like to read some books.
Yeah, that sounds pretty nice.
Side note, never asked you this. Gonna
Uh-huh.
ask a stupid question. Can you read?
Yes.
You had to think about that one for a minute.
Well, I don't do it all that often, so I got to double check.
Ah, fair point. And are there only certain languages you can read, or do you just common and giant and?
My parents taught me giant. I learned. Well, they also taught me Elvish.
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 Elvish or Elven, either one of the two.
The 4 taught me the language of rocks and fire and water and
Let me see what I can do about requisitioning some more Thunuk-sized books from the library tomorrow.
Okay.
Let me...
Oh, and my master taught me dwarvish. She was a dwarf.
Ah, lovely. Well, is there any specific sort of thing you'd be interested in learning about?
Everything? Yeah, everything.
Just as a side conversation.
Yeah.
Do you remember the big guy in the river?
Yeah.
I'm beginning to think that this watch thing is a little bit more complicated than it's being let on. We've got gnolls running wild in a forest. We've got druids getting blamed for sabotaging logging. And then we've got the watch going missing in the middle of it all.
And rude moss.
Why is the moss so rude, man?
I don't know. It's very rude.
You'd think moss would have better manners.
It said bad things about my mother.
Yeah,
That's
like
very
it's
confusing.
just sitting there all day, like it's sitting there all day. It's enjoying itself. It's got nothing to worry about. It doesn't have to pay bills. It doesn't have to get shot at. Like, why is it so rude?
I think they're keeping bad company.
Oh,
Yeah.
you should have a word with their mother.
Mm,
Does Moss have a mother? Okay.
with moss, well, that's, maybe. Yeah, I should do that.
What?
I mean, wait, you can talk to forests and shit.
Yeah, can't you?
Why the fuck didn't you talk to the Chondlewood? Be like,
I did.
excuse me, could you, like, possibly not go around changing on us? It's a wee bit rude.
Well,
It's a minor inconvenience.
we were guests. I mean, you can't just demand things of your host.
In your home, you'd look after them, right? You don't, like, you're a guest in my home, but I'm gonna try and kill you.
Look, you can ask one person in a house not to do stuff, and you can keep asking everyone else in the house, but it's going to take all day.
But the way that Chondlewood moves, it's like one entity.
Maybe he'll ask next time.
I will have to ask. Yes.
All right,
I mean,
I don't want to monopolize the roleplay anymore, so I'm gonna let other people do stuff.
No, but it's so cool.
Well, you see,
We're having a philosophical
as you're having this conversation,
Does Moss have a mother?
in the town square, you do notice that there seems to be. I mean, there's people that are like, there's people that are hammering like stanchions in front of the two entrances to the meenlock den, so that no one accidentally goes down or trips and falls or whatever. Most of the townspeople have dispersed and gone into their home. There's a slightly more. It's quieter than usual. I guess people are just kind of processing what had happened this evening. But you do notice that there's more. You've been out this late before in the town square. Usually it's empty, and usually the lamps are not lit by this point in the evening. But you can see that there's a few people that are keeping the lamps lit longer than usual. And there's a few more people that are kind of hanging around. They're not necessarily talking with anyone. They're just sort of lounging, looking pretty casual while they're there, but maybe someone's got a sword laying next to them or a club. It seems like.
Have the guard dispersed?
No, the guards are. You can see they're regularly patrolling now. Through you can as they're coming through the square on pretty regular intervals, but it seems like there's people that are finding excuses to stay up and keep just to.
Would these people happen to be hanging at the entrances of houses? If they were protecting their families.
Some of them are just in the middle of the town square, just kind of like they're not there to hang out with each other, but they're trying not to look like they're there in case something happens, but they're there in case something happens. It's one of those things where there's a few forward-thinking people who are saying, I'm just gonna.
So I'm gonna while I'm having that bit where I'm like, why is the moss so rude? I'm just gonna be clocking where every single one of them is. Like,
yeah, they're just
like I've seen it. It's like that scene in RoboCop where the scanning goes, go ding 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 ding.
Yeah, I mean, you don't pick up any ill intent from them. This is just.
Yeah, but I want to know if one of them goes missing.
Oh, okay, yeah. And as you're doing this large black direwolf comes padding in from the shadows from one of the from one of the alleys and shifts into Ilirana. Yeah, it shifts into Ilirana. And with her are some other there's 4 other druids that are with her, dressed kind of similar, and with them they've got someone 2 of them are helping along another man, a human that looks in pretty bad shape, like really badly hurt. And the emblem you can see on his, the emblem holding his cloak together is that of the Watch.
I look at Thunuk, and I'm like, shall we?
And with that, we're going to take our break.
I'm expecting the both to just be like, cure wounds at exactly the same time.
Ready? Do it on 3.
And he explodes.
Wait. On 3. Wait, on 3 or 1, 2, 3, then go.
1, 2, 3, shoot. No. What's a cure?
So we're going to take a 5-minute break. We are going to go examine our own home facilities to make sure they're all still in working order. We're probably going to do some.
Before we do have some thanks to give out.
Okay.
Yes.
Oh yes, we do.
We have some. I want to say thank you to Stig's Vanu cousin for 200 bits.
And the new follow today.
Super Sugar Sloth for the 200 bits. And then we had some follows as well.
That was Six Van New Cousin.
We've had Wraith Wall 100 follow.
Oh.
Super Sugar Sloth has followed. And so has Stig's
Welcome.
Vanu cousin. So
Nice.
welcome to the Chondlewood, or should I say the Hellmouth. Please enjoy.
All right, and we will be right back. We'll see you guys in about 5 minutes.
Deep within in the core. Other forests can be heard and hear a spirit song, sealed from long before.